Have you ever wondered what truly makes a person valuable and respected after the age of 65? Is it having vibrant health, a big, happy family, or the wealth accumulated after decades of hard work? All of those things matter. But there is something else, something that can't be measured in dollars or seen with the eyes, that every one of us can nurture. The inner value of who you are. This value doesn't lie in status or achievements. It lies in how you live, how you show up, and how you make others feel when they're around you. After 65, many people feel like they're fading into the background, unsure of their role in life. But the truth is, this chapter offers a powerful opportunity to shine in your own unique way through subtle, meaningful qualities that leave a lasting impact. In today's video, we'll explore 6 timeless traits you can embrace, not only to live a life of meaning, but to become someone who's deeply appreciated, remembered, and loved. Not because you tried to stand out, but because you simply chose to live authentically and beautifully. Each trait will be shared through a simple story, real, heartfelt, and deeply human. Because life teaches us best through the little moments. And you'll soon see that to become more valuable after 65, you don't need to change the whole world. You just need to shift the way you see yourself and the way you care for your own heart. So grab a warm cup of tea, get comfortable, and join me on this journey where you might just recognize a piece of yourself in each story. One invisible gift time gives us as we age is the depth and calm that settles into our spirit. When we're young, we react quickly. Anger, frustration, getting swept up in small things. But after 65, if we learn to be still, we become a peaceful presence for ourselves and for those around us. I once knew Mr. Walter, a 71-year-old retired teacher who lived in a quiet countryside town. He used to be strict and short-tempered, always demanding perfection from his students and even his family. But after retiring, and especially when his wife became seriously ill, he learned the most profound lesson of his life. Being calm is a form of love. Instead of blaming fate, he chose to care gently. He learned to listen, to breathe deeply when his heart was heavy, to stay silent instead of reacting. And slowly, he transformed from rigid to tender. His calm presence brought comfort to his wife in her final days. Now in his small town, people call him the gentle man like the morning breeze. Kids love sitting next to him, not because he tells jokes, but because he listens with a smile. Adults come to him when their minds are tangled, because one quiet look, one calm word, and suddenly, the world feels lighter. Calmness isn't something you're born with. It's built through time, hardship, and realizing how much damage quick reactions can cause. When you pause before you respond, when you seek to understand before you judge, that's when you plant seeds of peace. After 65, you don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Just show up with calmness, and you'll become more valuable than ever. Because in a noisy, anxious world, being a place of peace is priceless. If you've ever felt safe next to someone older who stays calm no matter what, you know the quiet power of this trait. And if you haven't learned it yet, it's never too late. Start simple. Breathe deeply. When you feel upset, count to 10 before reacting. Ask yourself, is this worth more than my peace of mind? Choose calmness, because when you're calm, you don't just soothe yourself, you soothe the little world around you. An 80-year-old man once told me something I'll never forget. As long as I'm still curious, I'm still truly alive. And I think he was right. I remember Margaret, a 75-year-old woman I met in a community art class. She was the oldest student, but her eyes sparkled with the most questions about colors, about shading, about techniques. While others her age preferred quiet afternoons with TV or watching the world go by, Margaret was exploring things she'd never done before. "You know," she once said to me, carefully drawing a petal, "I never imagined I'd be holding colored pencils at this age, but I want to see what else I can learn, what else I can still feel." This hunger to keep learning, this open curiosity, is one of the most magnetic traits a person can have. Not because they know a lot, but because they always want to know more. They don't let age freeze their minds. They don't say, "I'm old, I don't need that anymore." They stay open. People who are always learning stay alive inside. They listen to new ideas, talk to younger people without judgment, and try new things just because they're curious. And in doing so, they become role models. When a grandchild sees their grandma learning to use a phone, trying a fun dance, or baking from an online video, they learn something vital. Learning has no age limit. On the flip side, when we close ourselves off from the new, we begin to feel isolated, even in our own homes. Curiosity keeps our minds young and our hearts engaged. So if you've ever thought, "I'm too old to learn," please try to think again. Pick up a new dance. Learn a simple skill. Read a book you never thought you'd read. Learn to stretch your heart, to keep your spirit fresh, to remind yourself that age is a number, not a barrier. The more curious you are, the more interesting you become, not just to others, but to yourself. Because when you learn, you don't just gain knowledge, you reconnect with that spark you had in your youth. Keep a part of your heart open for wonder, because as long as you're learning, you're still truly alive. One of the reasons many older adults feel drained, hurt, or forgotten is this: they haven't learned how to set healthy boundaries, especially with the people they love. I once knew a woman named Helen. She was kind, soft-spoken, always willing to help. After her husband passed, she lived alone. Her children lived far away, so she opened her heart to neighbors, distant relatives, even casual acquaintances. If someone needed something, Helen was there. She never said no. But slowly, she began to feel exhausted. Not from age, but from being taken for granted. Her kindness wasn't appreciated, it was expected. One day, as her health began to decline, Helen realized she had forgotten to care for herself. She once believed that love meant giving endlessly. But she eventually learned that real love needs boundaries. Setting boundaries doesn't mean you're selfish. It's an act of love, protecting your health, your peace, and your dignity. When you learn to say no, kindly but firmly, you're not closing your heart. You're saying, "I deserve the same respect I give to others." People over 65 are often more empathetic, more willing to give, and more afraid of hurting feelings. That's why they sometimes end up emotionally drained, trying to please everyone, fearing rejection, or believing they must say yes to be loved. I remember Helen once told me, "The first time I said I'm sorry, I can't help today. I need to rest," my heart trembled, but then I felt such peace. From that moment on, she became more confident. She helped when she truly could. She no longer overextended herself. And slowly people began to respect her time, her space, her energy. Her relationships became healthier, more mutual, more genuine. Knowing how to set boundaries doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care in a mature, balanced way. It means you know when to rest, when to speak up, and when to say, "This matters to me too." People who maintain clear, gentle boundaries are people who protect the best parts of their relationships. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed because you didn't want to say no, please remember, you don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to say yes to be loved. Your value isn't in silent sacrifice. It's in who you are, and your limits deserve just as much respect as your generosity. The more you respect yourself, the more others will learn to do the same. And that's how you live a peaceful life, not with resentment or regret, but with quiet strength and self-honoring grace. Have you ever found yourself in a similar place, giving too much and not feeling appreciated? If so, share your story in the comments. We'd love to listen and walk alongside you. And if you've stayed with us this far, leave a comment saying, "I'm learning to honor myself." That simple sentence may be the encouragement someone else needs today. Have you ever been near someone whose very presence made you feel calm? They didn't need to say much. They didn't need to do anything extraordinary. They were just there, with a warm heart, a gentle gaze, and a peaceful energy that flowed from within. I'll never forget Mr. George, a quiet 78-year-old man who lived in a sleepy suburban neighborhood. He wasn't loud or funny. He didn't tell exciting stories, but every time I sat next to him, on an old wooden bench beneath a tree, I felt lighter. There was something so grounding about George. He never interrupted. He never gave advice unless asked. He simply listened, really listened. And when he smiled, it was the kind of smile that told you, "You're welcome here, just as you are." This warmth doesn't come from age or status or social skills. It comes from inner maturity, the ability to see others with compassion instead of judgment, to let them be themselves, and to be fully present with them in the moment. After 65, when life slows down, when noise loses its appeal, your presence becomes more valuable than ever. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be there with an open heart. Older adults who carry this kind of presence become a safe haven for the younger ones. Not because they know everything, but because they make others feel seen. They don't try to prove a point, they offer acceptance, and that's where healing begins. So how do you build that kind of presence? First, learn to be still. Pause when someone needs to talk. Don't rush to give advice or correct them. Just listen, fully, kindly. Warmth isn't loud. Sometimes it shows up in a simple question. Are you feeling okay today? In a quiet look that says, I'm here. Or in a gentle touch on someone's hand when they're hurting. When you become someone who makes others feel safe just by showing up, you'll always have a place in their hearts. Do you have someone in your life like that? Someone whose presence made you feel safe and loved? If yes, share their name in the comments. And if you wish to become that kind of person, comment, I choose to be present with warmth. Because who knows, you might become the reason someone's day feels a little lighter. There's something magical that happens when we pause and start observing the world around us with an open heart. We begin to find happiness in the smallest, simplest things. I once asked Mr. Jack, an 82-year-old neighbor who lived near the park, what makes you happy these days? He smiled gently and said, if the sun's out in the morning, my coffee's hot and I can hear the birds sing, that's enough for me to feel alive. After 65, many people feel a sense of loss. No more job to fill the days, no more children to raise. But if you look closer, this phase of life is a precious chance to slow down and to truly enjoy the moment. Joy doesn't have to come from big events. Sometimes it lives in a quiet morning sky, a homemade meal for yourself, or the stillness of reading a worn book. When you learn to experience life with a grateful heart, even the ordinary becomes healing. Mrs. Ruth, 74, is a beautiful example. After her husband passed, she lived alone in a small cottage on a hill. She tended her garden, wrote in her journal, and made calls to check on her grandkids. People asked if she felt lonely. She'd smile and say, I feel full. I feel like I'm truly living, not just existing. Because she could find joy in simplicity, Ruth never let sadness take over. She created daily rituals that brought her peace, and because of that, people admired her. Not because she needed attention, but because she radiated calm, contentment, and positivity. If you've ever felt like life has become dull, try changing your lens. Place your hand on your heart. Listen to the birds. Smile at your reflection in the mirror. These moments may be small, but when you truly feel them, they warm your spirit. You might even try writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day, no matter how small. Over time, you'll find your heart more open, your mind more present, and your life more meaningful. And if you've ever had one of those quiet, peaceful afternoons where nothing big happened but you felt deeply content, share that memory in the comments. Or simply write, I choose simple joys. It's a gentle promise to yourself to slow down, love more, and treasure the little things. There's a quiet beauty in older adults who know their worth. They don't boast, they don't need to prove anything, yet their presence feels steady, comforting, and powerful. That's the strength of self-respect and quiet confidence. I think of Eleanor, a 76-year-old former librarian from the city. She didn't speak much, but everything she did showed grace and certainty. When someone asked for her opinion, she listened fully before responding. When someone disagreed with her, she didn't argue. She simply smiled and held her ground. And whenever she walked into a room, people made space for her. Not because of status, but because of how she carried herself. After 65, it's easy to doubt yourself, to feel left behind, to think you're no longer useful. But this is exactly when it's time to look inward with kindness and see how much value still lives within you. Self-respect doesn't come from what others think. It comes from how you treat yourself. Do you keep promises to yourself? Do you care for your mind and body? Do you believe you are worthy of good things, of love, opportunity, and joy? Quiet confidence isn't loud. It's in how you sit calmly during chaos, how you say no when something doesn't align, how you walk away from arguments, knowing peace is more important than being right. Eleanor once said, I used to try so hard to please everyone. Then I realized, the first person I need to make peace with is myself. When I respect myself, others begin to respect me too. Self-respect helps you live in alignment with who you really are. It teaches you to protect your time, energy, and values. And that soft confidence, it reminds the world that no matter what you've been through, you still deserve a meaningful, beautiful life. If you've ever felt invisible as you've aged, remember, your true worth doesn't shine under stage lights. It glows from within. Are you living with self-respect and quiet confidence? Or are you just starting to find it again after years of forgetting? Either way, feel free to share in the comments. And if you're ready to reclaim your worth, say, I honor myself every day. Final message, a gentle farewell. Dear friend, if you're still here with me, it means you're someone who wants to live more deeply, more peacefully, and with greater purpose. And that is something truly beautiful. We've walked through 6 simple, powerful traits that can transform your life after 65. Calmness, curiosity, boundaries, warm presence, joy and simplicity, quiet self-respect. None of these require you to change the world. They just invite you to come back to yourself, gently, fully, and honestly. None of us are perfect, but each of us can become deeply valuable in our own way when we choose to live with gratitude and courage. No matter your current health, your family situation, or your past, you can begin today. Right now, you can start nurturing these traits within your own life. And please know, you are not alone. Out there, many others are walking a similar path. Learning to listen inward, learning to love themselves again, and choosing a meaningful life after 65. If any of these traits resonated with you, or if you're working on any of them now, please share in the comments below. Even a single sentence can inspire someone who needs to hear it. You can also write, I choose to become more valuable each day. Let that be your quiet commitment to yourself. And if this video brought you even a small bit of hope, insight, or encouragement, please click like, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe so we can continue walking together through stories that matter. Because somewhere out there, someone may need to hear exactly what you just heard. Thank you for being here with your full presence and open heart, wishing you peaceful, fulfilling, and soul-deep days ahead. See you in the next video.